Hi everyone, my name is Debra Fairfield and I am the current SJNMA Vice President of the Parents Club. And with me, I have Amy, who was last year's president. We've been asked to just share with you our experiences at the school with our children. And then if you have any questions, please type in your questions and we can answer them as we go along. So I have a rising senior. He started at the school when he was in the eighth grade. The reason why we chose St. John's was because we felt that our child would benefit from a structured environment, and living away from home would give him the independence and responsibility that we thought he was a bit lacking in. Um, we were very fortunate that the school, the academy, had run uh, during the happy non-COVID times, summer academies for the cadets. So he was able to try before we bought, so to speak, and he absolutely loved it. And so I can't believe it, but we've been here 4 years now, and he still loves it. And unfortunately, he misses his friends because of the circumstances going on in the world right now, but he's very excited to come back next year. Um, St. John's to us, what makes it unique and special for our family for sure is the resident life program. Um, you have to remember that you won't be with your child sometimes if you decide to send them to St. John's. We actually live in Chicago, so he's a boarder. And the most impactful part of his academy life has been his resident life officers. So before he came to this school, he was good academically, but his teachers always felt that he was a bit of a drifter and, he wasn't very focused. And suddenly he came to this school and he had resident life officers who are actually like your children's parents because you're not here, that believed in him and encouraged him and made him see what he could do um, in such a different way. And I think that's very, very rare. And I think that's something that every single resident life officer that works at this school has, this unique ability to tap into your child's um, positive qualities and really not only encourage them, but develop them. I don't think my child, when he first joined this school, ever thought that he could be a leader, but he is now. And last year, he was the youngest leader in battalion staff. And that was something that gave him great pride and gave us great pride as well. So that is definitely one of the biggest benefits to us of sending our son here. The teachers are also absolutely amazing. They're very caring. I have, teachers that will email me if they're concerned about my child. There are also teachers that are available every night in the TLC, and you heard from Mrs. Maurer last week. If your child has any problems at all, they are welcome to go to the tutoring um, library, and literally they get sat down with a teacher or a very academically strong student in that subject, and they get tutored. And I think this, what that bit of the academics really is beneficial to the children is the cadet teaching your child or the student teaching your child also has a vested interest in your child doing well. And likewise, your child will want to do well because they don't want their schoolmates to go, oh my gosh, you don't understand this. So it works both ways. And another great thing about the school is I think the cadets really work and function as a family. So whilst you may not be with them if your child boards, they all look out for each other, and it just comes naturally. My child used to very much think very insularly, and now he always thinks as a team. What will my actions do to impact the people around me? And I think that's very important, and it's a very, very important leadership quality. Um, every single child I've met at this school definitely demonstrates very strong leadership qualities. So apart from the academics, you also have this, emotional quotient side, which the school is outstanding in. Amy?
Yep. Hello, I'm Amy Choi. I am the past president of St. John's Northwestern Military Academy's Parents Club. I've been here since 2014. My twins started here as campers when we were in Chicago. We are also originally from Chicago. Um, and this was not something we had as a family looked into for school, but more as a camp. And they just fell in love with the whole atmosphere of St. John's and just um, the curriculum and everything that they had to offer in the experience of creating leaders. So, with that being said, we have our youngest child here now who is currently will be a 10th grader in the fall. So he started as a 7th grader. Um, so we've had many, many years to experience St. John's and the curriculum that it's brought into helping our children strive for. The military academy was never something that was in our scope of schools, and now with the leadership being added on, I think there's a great opportunity for a lot of students to look into not just the military part of the school, but also the leadership and the curriculum that it envelops and develops in the youth that do attend school here. So both of my boys graduated with, fantastic grades, honor students. They receive full ROTC scholarships to their school in DC, which is American University, and they're under the Georgetown Battalion. So they're very happy. One is staying, and one is probably coming back since he's looking at different options for his career. My youngest one is a bagpipes player, so he loves his bagpipes and he will be the bagpipe major for his sophomore year. So we're very proud of that. So a lot of different arts that the school offers, and again, academics, arts, and sports. So I would encourage any parents and any kids out there that might be like, oh, this is a military academy. We're not just a military academy anymore. We're a leadership academy now. So, you don't, if you're not too big of a fan of, doing the marches and all that, you've got different options now. With that, I mean, I've been here for a number of years and, I've been part of Parents Club since 2014, and it is very near and dear to my heart. We do about 6 different activities throughout the year, and that encompasses all of the students and the cadets. So, we go from dodgeballs, tug of war, we do pizza parties, magic dinner nights, where we have a magician come in for the Halloween. We celebrate, the Mardi Gras, so we'll decorate, stuff out. We do veterans cards during the Christmas holidays. Teacher appreciation. Unfortunately, this year we did not because of the situation that's happening right now, but we appreciate all of our teachers and staff at St. John's, and we'll make it up to you next year. Um, so the other thing is we have a very strong mission statement at the Parents Club, and I'm going to just kind of give you a little insert of what that statement is. So the St. John's Northwestern Military Academy Parents Club offers support through activities that strengthen the academy and enrich the educational and living experiences of the cadets. So, not all the cadets, get to go home, on all open weekends, and families, miss them. But us as Parents Club, we do these lovely, weekend activities for them. So they all kind of, team build, and it's, nothing formal. So everyone has a bunch of fun. Um, and the other nice thing about Parents Club for the parents is, because we're not a regular school, where you drop off daily and you see the parents drive up and you eventually get to know them. With Parents Club, it is our kind of a social network for the parents. So you get to really get to know the parents that are coming from all over the world, and I think that in terms of support gives a lot of comfort to the parents that have their kids here boarding full time. We are always available. You can always email us or call us if you had questions regarding anything that we can help you on the parent side. And so that's really all it is about Parents Club. We're here for the cadets and we're here for the parents, and we love to have parents join in all the time. We do have an executive board, which consists of a president, a vice president, a secretary, and a treasurer. So if anyone is interested, we're always looking forward to the following years. and
And
and then
12 board
and
members.
we do have 12 sitting board members.
Mhm.
So, again, those are the parents, and you do not need to live locally. We again, in this day and age, we can do, video
Zoom.
conferencing, we can Zoom, and we do everything via email. So you don't have to feel like you have to be around here. We have meetings every month, and those are, teleconference, and now we'll probably be Zooming those out. But, don't feel like, oh, I'm never at the school. I've got parents that are halfway across the world that are involved in Parents Club, whether they're sponsoring, an activity, or they're
Donating cookies.
donating cookies,
Yeah.
things like that. Those little things do mean quite a bit for the kids. So we do appreciate all the parents that have been part of St. John's Parents Club, and we look forward to all of the new parents that are coming in.
Yeah, I think another thing to add is that with Parents Club, you may have this may be a high school. I know we have seventh and eighth graders as well, but we parents sometimes feel like, oh, maybe my child doesn't want me there and stuff. But whenever parents show up at the school,
They
their
love it.
children are so happy to see them. I get bigger hugs from my son when I come and visit him here than when he actually
Yeah,
goes home. So it's a
yeah.
big deal to them that you come and take part in their school life. And I have to say that if you do take advantage, if you come to the school and take advantage of the activities that the Parents Club does, you not only gain an insight into your child's life, a very, very good insight into your child's life at school, but you make wonderful friends. Amy's one of my closest friends now. And I would have never thought, living so pretty far away from the school, that I would have this community of parents that I could rely on if I ever needed any help. I think one of the things I wanted to add on, just from what Amy said, is that for me, when I looked at St. John's, there's always this preconception, or rather a misconception, about military schools. Only naughty boys go to military schools, or only naughty children go to military schools. And I feel that's really not the case with our
No,
school. That this school is meant to enhance your child's academic and social life, in social well-being, but it's not a school that is going to, well, I wouldn't say fix things. I don't, it's the type of school that is
I think
going to
it guides your child to make the right decisions and to make those important decisions that will carry them forth, into, the college university years, and then even further. I mean, we have um, a graduation weekend where we have alumni from all the way going back. I think the previous graduation year, I believe it was 1938 or 39, was a graduate we had here. And that is just so amazing. The all alumni welcomes the new graduates into that alumni association. So we have the old boys club, is what they're called. But you don't really get to see that in majority of the high schools where the alumni come and welcome the graduating students,
Yeah,
and it's just
so nice to see.
it is. It's very
Yeah.
heartwarming. And, so, we've spent many years at the school. And, as I said, my kids chose to come here. It wasn't like, oh, yeah, you're naughty. You've got to go to St. John's, because they started camp. I believe they were 11 years old when they did their camp here, and they loved it so much. Like, oh, mom, we just want to come to this school now. And this was them in 7th grade. I'm like, yeah, you just think it's cool because you get to be away from mom and dad.
And you wear that fancy
Yeah,
uniform, and
they
yes.
get the nice uniform. And but I said to them, if you were still interested in this in high school, then we would look into it, because we have so many options in Chicago. You've got all the college preps, you got all the lovely private high schools in Chicago. But they actually chose to come to St. John's, and they were so excited to be here. And, as I said, they've had a fantastic career here. And my youngest is, going in the same direction. And it makes a parent very proud to see your children make those good decisions. I mean, they're not perfect by all means. You're not going to get a perfect child back, but you will get a child that knows the difference between right and wrong, and how to use proper etiquette and manners. You don't see many children say yes, ma'am, and yes,
Please and thank
sir,
you.
and yeah, and hold the door open. I mean, just those simple things, I think, just shows you just how minute of details the school puts into creating
A
these
well-rounded student.
these leaders of tomorrow. So I hope if you guys have any questions, like I said, you can always email us at parentsclub@sjmma .org, or contact the school and ask for our numbers.
Yeah, and we really, really encourage you, if you are interested in the school, to come up and actually see the school and meet the students and meet the staff that will be taking care of your child, because you will be blown away by their dedication. Their love for your child is just amazing. They literally treat your children like their own, from Mrs. Mauer to the resident life officers. They all embrace your child. Your child is safe here. Your child will be well taken care of here and loved. And they will get an education that will take them far into the future.
And it's very safe. Delafield is a beautiful, beautiful town. So
Yes.
please come to our school.
So the
So
first one is from Ricky Tan. What advice would you give to parents experiencing kid sickness for the first time their kids are away from home for an extended period of time?
Yeah, I cried my eyes out all the way back to Chicago the first time I dropped my eighth grader off at the school. And I'm not going to lie to you, it is hard initially, but the school does have open weekends where your child can come home, or during those open weekends, you can come up and see your child as well. I think that thankfully, in this day and age, we experience less homesickness and child sickness from the parents and the children, just because most children have cell phones,
yeah,
most children have iPads and Facebook and FaceTime and all
yeah,
that sort of thing. So it's easy to see your child,
yeah.
even though they're not physically with you. What I will say is that feeling of homesickness or missing your child won't always go away. Your parents, you will obviously
Yeah,
miss your
you're always
child.
going to want them around.
Yes, but
And
they will call, and if you haven't heard from them, feel free to email their resident life officers and say, I haven't heard from my child, and the resident life officers will normally tell them to call you or email you. And actually, I remember in the first year, my child's resident life officer used to make sure once a week my child would call me. I mean, he would call me multiple times, but he would make sure at least once a week all of his cadets would call up their parents. But it doesn't go away. And that's why I think, if you have something like Parents Club
Yeah.
there, come up for the activities, come and see your child if you can. When, the what you call it, when school term ends and it's time to pick up your child, come and actually pick up your child, see where they live, speak to the staff. It does help alleviate a bit of the
Yeah.
anxiety.
Yeah. I mean, Deborah and I both went to boarding schools ourselves. So it's, I think from both perspectives on being the student and then now being a parent, it is really tough. And I will say this. So we actually have a home in Delafield, because again, this town is beautiful, and it's like I don't say to all parents that that's something, it's not feasible for majority of the parents, but for my husband and I, we were able to like work from home and just do stuff that we didn't, and even though my kids, were here majority of the time, it's still I could be close, but I still miss them. And there would be like times where I would send them emails nonstop and I would not get a reply. I would be like, oh my gosh, where are my children? Did something happen to them? And so I emailed the RFO, and they'll be like, oh, yep, no problem. I'll make sure they call you tonight. And so it's like the first thing I'm like, what are you doing? Why haven't you, email me back? And they're like, we've been busy, mom. Really, really busy. So don't worry. So it's not as though your children, they're locked up somewhere. They've got so much going on when they are here that, it doesn't feed into their mind at times that, oh my gosh, my mom and dad haven't heard from me for a couple of days, that they might be worried. So, with parents, it is really tough, and that feeling of like
Separation
yeah,
anxiety.
it never goes away. But you do have to know your child is it's safe. He or she is in a great learning environment, and you can take comfort in knowing that your child will exceed and excel in his life choices from learning what he has to learn here.
And I think, when you first start at the school at orientation, you get a schedule of what they do every day. So from 9 o'clock, they can call you and you can call them. And so if they haven't called you, feel free to call them, because
9 o'clock at night.
yeah, we keep the cadets are kept very, very busy, which is a good thing. Actually, it's students and cadets now,
Yeah,
right?
students and cadets.
And so they are kept very, very busy. But one of the nice things is what I noticed, and actually a lot of parents have said this to me about their children after they've come to school here, is once they go home, they're much more appreciative of their parents.
Yes, they are.
They are
They
so
are.
much more grateful for what you do for them. I can't tell you the number of times my kids said thank you for a home cooked meal after his first.
They really
first
do
week time home.
appreciate you.
Yes, they do.
When
So
they
that's
do
a
come
real
back
thing.
home, they really do. I can't say, during the summer, they lax back to, oh, it's mom and dad again. Oh.
Yeah.
But, that initial time when you see them, either, if you're coming up for a weekend, for an open weekend, or they're going home, they do appreciate everything that is around them that much more.
Yes. And that includes you. So
Yeah.
I've actually heard my son say to his friends, no, I can't go out with you tonight because I just got home and I want to be with my parents and my family. So that's another thing that I think, it's an intangible gain that you get from this school, but it's these little things that really mean a
Yeah.
lot.
The intrinsic values.
Yeah.
What's the best way for parents to join Parents Club or become involved with Parents Club? How would you recommend they do that?
You can either go online and submit the registration form, or when you come in for registration in August, we're here. We are at every registration in August, whether it be the
International students,
the football, the basketball camps, the soccer camps. the cross country camps, if we're doing those. We're at every registration for August. So, and we will have a little table. So please come by and say hello. We'd love to meet all the parents, new and current. So that's the easiest way.
Yeah, and also at the open houses for term time at least, there's normally at least one representative from the parents club at open house, so you can ask us questions there. It's not one of these, once you join, you have to do everything. Join us when you can. We're just grateful that you want to come in and help out.
How does the communication work right now between parents and cadets?
Parents and cadets.
The age itself.
Yes, I
Yeah.
think it's pretty good. I mean, I have to say, in the age of cell phones, I don't know how my children would have survived if COVID happened 15
Yeah.
years ago. But it's a text, isn't it? It's a quick Snapchat and things. What I would say is that if you are sending your child, please don't Snapchat them and text them during class time, because they actually get in trouble. They're not supposed to bring in their phones, but just don't do that. It's not encouraged, and you're sending them here to study as well. So I normally text my son in the evenings, let me know what you're doing. And they normally, they get to a point where they just text you back, and what I would suggest is just keep texting them and keep
Yes.
Snapchatting them until they reply to you. In this day and age, it's so easy to do.
So I've learned from many years that it's generally the parents that initiate the contact. You'll text your child, so what's going on, or how are you doing? I always find that if you get a call from them, it's always like, I need something.
Yes,
It's
please
not
send me money.
so, not that they don't love you or anything, but it's always very interesting. It's a very great need, immediate need, like I need socks or something. You're like, why would I need to get you socks? There's a cadet store that you could, those sometimes I think, they do that. It's also like kind of like, oh, don't forget about me. It's like, so it's just random little things. But I think communication is very easy these days. So again, you've got FaceTime, you've got, text, you've got all the social medias outlets. And, when the kids at appropriate times, they are completely allowed to use all of those.
Yeah. And I think, if I was going to give parents any advice, is if they are staying away from you, when they call you, try not to yell at them too much or tell them off too much and things. Remind them that you love them, because they can actually just hang up on you, can't they? And
Yes, and they will.
and they will. And I remember our past president, Dr. Albert. He was the president when we were joining the school. At every chapel, and they have chapel twice a week. He would always end with, "Tell your parents you love them." And I just think that is so important in this day and age. And actually, my son does. Every time he puts down the phone, he'll say, "I love you." But yeah, just little things like, if you're upset with their grades, talk to them about it. But don't make it so hard that they don't want to call you back the next time because they're afraid you're going to yell at them. I guess that's the best advice I could give.
And speaking of grades, you are able to monitor the grades daily. So there is a platform once you become a parent student here that it's not, you don't go blind as to what your kid is absolutely doing academically. You will be able to see every day if your child's missing homework, if they didn't turn in an assignment,
You
how
can
they did
email
on
the
a test.
teacher. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're still very involved as a parent. Just because your child is not in your home coming in, and and you can't see them doing homework, or you can't see them studying for a test, does not mean you are not involved in the academic factors of that realm of your child's life anymore. That is, I check my children's grades every single day, and and it annoys them because I always say, have you done this yet? Have you turned in this paper yet? Because I know exactly what they have to turn in, and and you can actually request the teachers to give you certain access to see if the kid is your child is doing that work or have started that work, because majority of the stuff that the kids do are on Google Docs, so they can share it with you if they like. I mean, if you want to be that involved as a parent, but I will say there's no reason for you not to be involved in the child's academics.
And if you're concerned about a child's certain grades and stuff, what happens at the school is after school finishes, there's an hour of tutorials that the children can be put down to attend. So if your child is not doing so well in, say, physics or something like that, they can actually sign up to do an extra hour with a physics teacher after school to make sure that they understand their homework, that they might do extra work to reinforce a concept that they've learned. There are all these extra tools, and that is on top of Mrs. Mauer's Learning
Yeah.
Center. That they have the tutoring in the evening, and the children. I mean, my son I know goes to the Learning Center just to do his homework sometimes because it's quieter. Everyone is studying, and he has access to a number of students and the Learning Center staff that can help him with his homework. Is that okay? Yeah.
How did you feel sending a child in junior high? I came in, this is Ricky Tan again.
Mhm.
I came here in the 7th grade, but my wife thinks that that's too young.
Well, I mean, my youngest was a
Yeah.
7th grader, and he wanted to, again, all my children wanted to be at the school. I think one of the things with my his brothers being seniors, I think he wanted that you know, time to spend with his brothers, because he doesn't get to see them much. And I think it worked out very well. I mean, he loved it here. He excelled. Grades were fantastic. He started out as a drum major, and then he went off into pipes the following year, his 8th grade year. So, as a parent, I'm comfortable. I feel that the kids are in a very safe environment. And, for me to have my youngest son here when he was in 7th grade, I wasn't completely sure when my twins were that age, but having them be here and having that experience of all of the, RFOs, the staff, the caring and the level of caring that they give to your child is as a parent, you do feel quite safe.
Um, yeah, so my child came in 8th grade, and I do remember a lot of my friends saying, I can't believe you're sending him away so young. But I think you actually have to look at the bigger picture as well. What do you want your child? What is your vision for your child? And I have to say, with St. John's, that vision of my son has far surpassed what I expected. To see him blossom into this leader that people look up to. Both last year and this year, he won national awards for being the best student in his year, the most respected student in his year. I mean, this child was a class clown before he came to this school, and now he's respected. Kids look up to him. So it is hard, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It is not easy being away from your child, but I think you have to look at the bigger picture of what you want your child to be and how the school is going to help mold your child into a leader of the future. And when you see that, it's a bit easier. And then, like Amy said, when you come and meet the resident life out officers that take care of your child, you'll be very, very much more relieved and comforted.
Yeah.
And I just think of the RFOs that took care of my children, of my son. um, he actually listens to them more than he listens to
Yeah,
me.
and the cadets actually watch out for one another.
Mhm.
Of course, majority of the time they do tease each other and things, but there's no
They look out for
bullying.
each
They do
other.
look out for each
Yes,
other.
they do.
The thing I always tell parents, when I do meet them and they're on the threshold of whether to send their child or not, is to have a conversation with your child. Does your child feel comfortable? Is he excited to give this a go? I mean, there's always the said that if you force a child to do something, he's going to go run the opposite way. But if you involve your child, he's going to try to, give it a go and say, yeah, this is for me, or no, it's not for me. So I wouldn't say like, yeah, just, make that decision for your child. So always involve your child in that, because
I didn't involve my child that much, I have to say. I just sent him here. But it was really funny because, like I said, he tried out the summer program, and we sent him here. I didn't ask him, but I explained to him why we were sending him here. And within, I would say, 2 months of being here, he loved it. And he has had opportunities to maybe transfer to a school closer because, again, I missed him. There is nothing that he wants more than to graduate with this school because of what it's given him, because of the people that are here, that he knows love him and really care for him. These people, these staff and teachers that have taken care of my son, they will live with him for the rest of his life. What they have taught him, the people that they are, his heroes are some of the teachers and staff in this school, and rightly so.
That's it.
Okay, so please join us next Wednesday at noon Wednesday for a special Facebook live session with Heidi Beck Kurtz, our college counseling expert, as she discusses how we help our students prepare for life after the academy. So thank you very much for listening to us, and please feel free to ask questions, and I'm sure the school will get back to you.
yes, and join us in August.
Yes, have a great weekend.